What if I told you that some of humanity's most advanced flying machines, aircraft that once represented military dominance, are now available for private purchase? What if you could walk onto a runway and fly the same aircraft that defined an entire era of aviation? Today, we're exploring the remarkable world of decommissioned military jets entering civilian ownership. These aren't fantasy machines. They're real, they're available, and they're changing hands right now. The Aero L-39 Albatross. When Czechoslovakia needed a trainer jet, they created something that would outlive the regime that built it. Over 2,900 L-39 airframes rolled off assembly lines during the Cold War. Today, that massive production run means something crucial. This is your entry drug into jet ownership. The Ivchenko turbofan produces 3,790 pounds of thrust, pushing the needle to 750 kilometers per hour. Pricing starts at $150,000 for restoration projects, climbing to $500,000 for pristine examples. The real advantage? A thriving global community means finding parts isn't like archaeological digging. It's like ordering from Amazon. Training is accessible, support networks exist, and mechanics who understand this aircraft aren't extinct. The Maki MB-339, Italian engineering philosophy. Build something reliable and let it work for decades. The MB-339 entered Italian Air Force service and then did something remarkable. It stayed relevant. Rolls-Royce Viper turbojets, 900 kilometers per hour, two-seat tandem layout. Price range, $250,000 to $800,000. Operating costs sit around $1,500 to $2,500 per flight hour. Why would someone choose this over flashier jets? Because Rolls-Royce Viper engines are industry standard. Parts don't disappear into history. Maintenance facilities understand these power plants. If you want to actually fly regularly without spending your retirement fund on sourcing components from abandoned warehouses, this Italian workhorse solves the problem. The SIAI-Marchetti S211. Here's a jet that understood supply chain reality. Single-engine Italian trainer from the late 1970s, equipped with a Pratt & Whitney Canada JT15D turbofan. That specific engine deserves attention. It powers Cessna Citations, Beechcraft Mustangs, and 100 other business jets. Translation? Maintenance facilities exist in major cities worldwide. Certified mechanics know this engine inside out. Spare parts are manufactured today, not sourced from collectors. Top speed, 667 kilometers per hour. Pricing between $300,000 and $700,000. Not the most visually impressive jet ever built, but functionally. It removes a major headache from jet ownership. The Fouga Magister. Sometimes engineers create something that defies classification as merely practical. The Fouga Magister arrived in 1952 with design features that still turn heads. That butterfly V-tail wasn't decorative. It fundamentally altered how the aircraft handled. Twin turbo mecha Marbury turbojets delivered 2,800 pounds combined thrust, reaching 715 kilometers per hour. Pricing $200,000 to $500,000. Served with 14 different air forces across Europe and the Middle East. The catch? That distinctive tail configuration demands respect. Standard trainer instruction won't cut it. You need someone who actually understands Fouga handling characteristics. Parts sourcing has deteriorated as global fleets shrink. But if you want to own a piece of jet design history, something genuinely innovative and elegant, this French machine offers that experience. The Hawker Hunter. When aviation historians discuss beautiful jet aircraft, the Hawker Hunter dominates the conversation. Designed by Sidney Cam, the same engineer who created the Hurricane Fighter, it represents British engineering at its peak. Rolled into RAF service in 1954 with a Rolls-Royce Avon turbojet producing 10,000 plus pounds of thrust. Speed, beyond 1,100 kilometers per hour. That swept wing profile, immediately recognizable from any angle. Pricing for civilian examples, $500,000 to $1.5 million. Annual operating costs, $150,000 to $250,000. Here's the harsh reality. Finding a civilian hunter means either patience or substantial resources. The global fleet continues shrinking. Specialized engineers who understand this airframe are retiring faster than new ones emerge. Maintenance becomes increasingly specialized and expensive. None of that stops demand. The Hawker Hunter remains the most pursued warbird in civilian hands. It combines speed, history, elegant design, and undeniable presence in a way few aircraft achieve. The BAE Hawk jumped forward to 1976. The British military wanted an advanced trainer that could also handle light combat roles. The Hawk emerged and found fame as the mount of the Red Arrow's aerobatic display team. That Red Arrow association elevated it from trainer to elite performer. Single Rolls-Royce Adar turbofan, 1,280 kilometers per hour. Dual seating under a bubble canopy. Pricing, $600,000 to $2 million. Obtaining a civilian Hawk requires different expectations than most aircraft on this list. The type remains in active military service globally. Governments simply don't retire that many airframes. When examples do appear, civilian buyers quickly acquire them. Operating costs run $3,000 to $5,000 per flight hour. That's not chump change, but you're purchasing admission to an extremely exclusive club. The Hawk performs at levels most civilian pilots never access. The Alpha Jet France and Germany partnered on a trainer-attack hybrid in the late 1970s. The Alpha Jet emerged as a genuine performer. Two Snecma Turbomeca Larzac turbofans, 1,000 kilometers per hour, twin-seat configuration. Germany retired its fleet during the 1990s, releasing airframes into the civilian market. Pricing, $500,000 to $1.2 million. Operating costs approximately $2,000 to $3,000 per flight hour. Twin engines provide psychological security that single-engine jets can't match. The Alpha Jet's relatively modern design, Cold War standards, means fewer vintage component nightmares. Its civilian market presence is growing, not shrinking. The Flying Bull's acrobatic team's visible use of Alpha Jets has legitimized it in the Warbird community. Performance is credible, handling is responsive, and it hasn't yet reached the scarcity crisis affecting earlier jets. The Douglas A4 Skyhawk. Few aircraft carry combat credentials like the Douglas A4. This jet didn't sit in museums or demonstration teams, it fought. Vietnam, Middle East conflicts, multiple theaters. The TA-4 J2-seat trainer variant dominates civilian examples. Pratt and Whitney J 5.2 turbojet, approaching Mach 0.94, near supersonic. Price range $500,000 to $1.5 million. Operating costs run $2,500 to $4,000 per flight hour. The Skyhawk demands respect during maintenance. Carrier aircraft systems were designed around naval operations, inherent complexity that civilian mechanics find occasionally bewildering. Qualified specialists who understand A4 systems aren't abundant. But here's what matters. Flying a Skyhawk connects you directly to actual military history. This aircraft wasn't theoretical. It dropped ordnance, returned fire, and demonstrated genuine combat performance. That heritage creates an emotional resonance most trainer jets simply cannot match. The Supermarine Attacker, Britain's first carrier-based jet fighter. 1947. Before most modern aircraft existed, the Supermarine Attacker entered Royal Navy service as a genuine innovator, proving that jet propulsion could operate from carrier decks. Single Rolls-Royce Nene turbojet, 900 km per hour. Pricing: $400,000 to $900,000. Availability: extremely limited. Owning an attacker means ownership of an aviation artifact. Finding original parts: essentially impossible. Maintenance requires interpretation, improvisation, and deep specialist knowledge. But you're flying an aircraft that was at the frontier of jet aviation. Few aircraft alive today can claim that distinction. This is the domain of dedicated collectors with patience and budgets. The F-86 Sabre Korea. That single word encapsulates the F-86 Sabre's reputation. Rolls-Royce Avon turbojet producing 7,275 pounds of thrust, 1,135 kilometers per hour, approximately 1,800 built worldwide. Pricing for civilian examples: $400,000 to $1.2 million. This aircraft doesn't need introduction. It fought the Soviet MiG-15 in actual combat. It established American air superiority when it wasn't guaranteed. It's history flying. The civilian Sabre market demonstrates something interesting. Prices appreciate. Well-maintained examples gain value because supply decreases while mystique increases. Parts availability challenges exist, but the reputation matters more than logistics to most owners. Flying a Sabre means joining a direct lineage to Cold War combat operations. The Lockheed F-104, Starfighter. The missile with a man in it. That's how pilots described this radical aircraft. Absurdly short wings, extreme performance, unforgiving nature. General Electric J, 79 turbojet, producing 10,000 plus pounds of thrust. Mach 2 plus capability, genuine supersonic performance. Pricing: $1.5 million to $3 million and higher. Annual operating costs: $250,000 plus. The F-104 isn't for everyone. Its reputation for demanding absolute precision exists because the machine earned that description. One mistake means serious consequences. But if you want to experience what sustained supersonic flight actually feels like as a civilian, the F-104 remains one of your only options. It's the ultimate expression of raw performance. The Beechcraft T-6 Texan II. Jump to the 2000s. Modern avionics. Current engine technology. The Beechcraft T-6 represents a different category. Not vintage Warbird, but contemporary military trainer now entering civilian hands. Pratt & Whitney turbofan, 600 plus kilometers per hour. Pricing: $500,000 to $1.5 million. Operating costs: $1,500 to $2,500 per flight hour. The advantage: no hunting for 1950s components, no specialization nightmares. Modern avionics exist. Maintenance facilities understand current technology. Support networks are robust because these aircraft still serve military roles. If you want a jet with contemporary reliability standards, the Texan II represents the future of civilian military aviation. The Fouga Zephyr, lesser-known cousin of the Magister family. Modified engines, refined systems, same distinctive butterfly tail. Pricing: $250,000 to $600,000. Availability: very rare. The Zephyr represents the collector's tier, something few people acknowledge, fewer still own. Its obscurity makes it valuable to those seeking genuine uniqueness. You're not just acquiring an aircraft, you're joining a community of approximately a dozen people, globally. The Republic F-84, Thunderjet America's first jet, seeing actual combat. Korea again, that word keeps appearing. Thousands manufactured, some still operate. General Electric J-35 turbojet, 970 kilometers per hour. Pricing: $300,000 to $800,000. Operating costs reasonable compared to later generation fighters. The F-84 doesn't carry the romantic reputation of the Sabre or Hunter, but it carries something arguably more important: authenticity. This aircraft was there, not in theory or hypothesis, but literally flying actual combat missions. Finding one means accessing genuine military history without the prestige price tag of more famous aircraft. The MiG-15 bis. Here's where it becomes genuinely exclusive. A handful of MiG-15 bis aircraft, Soviet-era fighters, exist in private hands globally. Klimov RD-45 turbojet, Soviet copy of Rolls-Royce Nene, 1,075 kilometers per hour, Korean War combat history. Pricing: $1.5 million to $3 million plus. Availability: extremely rare. Bureaucratic complexity: extreme. Owning a Cold War Soviet fighter as a civilian requires navigating international regulations, export permits, and import restrictions. It's Byzantine. But fewer than 100 people globally have accomplished this. You'd join a club so exclusive it almost doesn't exist. That's the appeal. These are the best jets you can buy as a civilian right now. All represent the pinnacle of aviation achievement. Thank you for watching.